Hello and welcome to Tech Deals. Uninterruptible power supplies, what are they, why you should buy one, and why they're the cheapest insurance you can buy for your computer, bar none. In today's video, we're going to take a look at two different UPSs at two different price points. I will take these out of the box and show them to you later in the video, but this is mostly a discussion of the value of UPSs, how to use them, how long they last, why I use them, and why I think every computer should have one attached. First up, what is a UPS? UPS stands for Uninterruptible Power Supply. It's basically a big battery for your computer. Now, laptops sort of have a UPS built into them. Even if you're plugged into the wall with a charged battery, if the power goes out, your laptop just switches to the battery and it keeps right on working. But your desktop doesn't have such a thing. Now, they come in all shapes and sizes and price ranges, but they all basically do the same general function. When the power fails from the wall, they switch over to their internal battery and you can keep using your computer, at least for a little while. Please note, all the UPSs I'm going to cover, and most UPSs in general, are not designed for sustained operation on battery. They're designed to give you enough time to finish your work, save your work, and safely shut down your computer. Most UPSs will give you between 5 and 15 minutes of power at full load, and will give you between 15 minutes and 45 minutes of power at 25 to 50% load. So the closer to full power you're drawing, by far the less time you're going to get out of a UPS. They're just meant to safely shut down your machine, not interrupt your work, and possibly not damage your hardware due to a sudden and unexpected power outage. They also serve the benefit of surge protection. If you were already planning on spending $10, $20, $30 on a quality surge protector, and frankly, quality surge protectors generally do start out at about $20. The $10 ones are more power strips than real surge protectors. Then they also provide that benefit as well because they have those built in. They also have equipment warranties that are included with them as well. So if your computer is damaged due to a lightning strike or surge, your connected equipment is protected as well. There is honestly a bunch of paperwork and stuff you have to go through to get them to honor that agreement, but at least it's there, and if it's important to you, it's something to consider. Basic UPSs start at about $40, but those are for inexpensive basic computers. They only provide 200 to 250 watts of total power, and this is an important issue to talk about, which is sizing. You have to buy a UPS with a battery that is large enough to even provide the wattage that your computer will use. Now, this doesn't mean that if you have an 800 watt power supply, you have to buy a UPS that can provide 800 watts, because after all, you're not pulling all 800 watts from the wall with that power supply. But if your computer actually uses 300 to 400 watts of power, you need a UPS that's capable of providing that much power. And you actually want to go over that because UPSs at full load don't last very long on battery, wear their batteries out faster, and are generally less reliable than if you size a UPS to use no more than 50 to 75% of its total power load when on battery power. Starting at the $40 price point, you'll get a UPS with about a 425 VA rating and a 225 wattage rating. That would be sufficient for a very basic i3 or Ryzen 3 machine. That would be sufficient for perhaps a Pentium dual-core machine. It is not sufficient for much more beyond that because you have to account, as I said, for the monitor as well as for the computer itself. Now, $40 does provide you with about a $20 surge protector, so it's not a huge price premium, but it's not a powerful unit. Most people should start with something like this. Now, everything I'm discussing will be linked down in the video description below to both Amazon and Newegg. And I will also list down there which basic CPUs and graphics card I recommend at each level so that you don't have to scroll through the video and find it all. But this unit here is a 550 VA, 330 watt unit. It's actually the older model. The one that will be linked below is a 600 VA unit, but it's still 330 watts. They kind of basically increased the VA number without actually making the unit more powerful. Marketing, yay. In any case, so 550 or 600, either way, it's a 330 watt unit, and it'll provide enough power for locked i5s, a mid-range Ryzen 5, perhaps a GTX 1060 or an RX 580, and that's about it. It'll provide power for maybe one 1080p monitor up to 27 inches in size. It's not meant for multiple monitors, it's not meant for overclocked i7s, and frankly, if you try to connect such machines, you're really going to be pushing up into that 330 watt power limit. You want a bigger unit. Not to worry, 850 VA will provide you with plenty of power for an overclocked i7 or a Ryzen 7 machine with probably up to a GTX 1080, maybe a 1080 Ti. It just depends on how big your monitor is and what other devices you also want to connect to it. Now, those units are about $90, so they're about $30 more expensive than this. So it goes 40, 60, 90. Consider this. If you have a nice high-end overclocked i7 machine or a Ryzen 7 1700 or 1700X, you've got a $4, $5 plus $100 graphics card, you got a couple of nice several $100 monitors attached to it, you may very well have $1,500 to $2,000 worth of computer equipment. Is a $90 UPS really that expensive? Well, let's talk about that. The 850 VA unit, as I said, is $90. Replacement batteries for it run about $30. And yes, you do have to replace the batteries every so often. They recommend every 3 to 5 years. We'll go with the middle number of 4 years. If you keep it for a dozen years, which I'm comfortable doing before I will replace the whole unit just due to the power protection devices slowly wearing out over time, 12 years of use will entail 2 battery replacements, one at the 4-year mark, one at the 8-year mark. 90 plus 30 plus 30 is a total of $150 total ownership cost over 12 years. You aren't going to keep your computer for 12 years. You're probably going to go through a couple of upgrades. Like say that you upgrade every 4 years, you'll go through 2 more full PCs. So you may have a $1,500 computer today, but 4 years from now you'll get another one. And then 4 years from that you'll get another one. So you're looking for a $150 investment, protecting a total of $4,500 worth of computer stuff over the next 12 years. Bear in mind, this comes with a $75,000 insurance policy that protects against connected equipment. So long as you keep the unit up to date, replace the batteries every couple of years, and make sure that all of your computer parts are plugged into it, then if something should happen to your computers, you can apply for the insurance policy through APC. $1 a month to protect thousands of dollars worth of computer parts for more than a decade? That's a deal. Everything I just said scales up to the larger units. If you're wondering what this big huge thing on the desk is, this is a 1500 VA or 865 watt back UPS. Now this has the benefit of providing far more power to larger powerful computers or more connected devices. It has a larger warranty and a hot swappable battery, which these do not have. You don't have to shut it down, shut your computer down to swap out the batteries. Now, of course, as I said, most people don't need something like this, but let me explain why I have it. My $2,000 Cadillac build, the i7 8700K that I recently built, is downstairs, and that's what this is going on. But I also have 2 32-inch 4K monitors down there. Those are not cheap monitors at $750 a piece. They are also not low power draw monitors at close to 100 watts each. Add to that the additional items that I put in the machine. There's 32 gigs of RAM, there's a couple more SSDs, and the sound card. And I'm looking at $4,000+ worth of equipment for my live streaming PC. $170 for this is nothing to protect that much computer against power surges, power failures, or worst case scenario, a lightning strike that destroys it, and the insurance coverage will then replace it for me. The lifetime cost of this is about $2 a month, $170 for the unit, $60 for each replacement battery, $290 over 12 years, works out to about $24 per year or $2 per month. $2 per month to protect $4,000 worth of equipment with an insurance policy and a high-end surge protector and hot swappable batteries? That's a deal. So the backups line from APC covers $40 to $170 with a bunch of options in between. As I said before, all these will be linked down in the description below, along with my suggestions of what type of computer should be attached to them. But you have to make adjustments for how big your monitor is, how many monitors you have, what other devices you may be connecting to it. I wouldn't connect printers to them per se, but most other things at your desk probably should run through the UPS. Now, there's several other different brands on the market. Triplite is a very common one. CyberPower is a common one as well. I wouldn't buy either one. I have in the past. As I said, I have professionally used UPSs for more than 20 years. I've had problems with those other units. I have not had problem with APC. At this point in time, I will not buy or use anything but APC. Now, there's also higher-end units from APC, the SmartUps line. That is going to be the topic of a different video. I do own a SmartUps, and I have another one coming for my other high-end build. They are more expensive. They are not for the average person, but they are line interactive versus the standby power, which I'll discuss in that video. Most people watching this video don't need a SmartUps. A backups is fine for most people. I'm putting that very nice streaming machine on a backups. It's really fine. It's really Skylake X, Threadrippers, servers, that sort of thing that deserve a SmartUps versus a backup. Also, they have benefits of network management and some other features that you can't get on these units. I'm now going to take these units out of the box, show you everything that comes in the box, take a quick look at all the features of them, but before we do that, like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember to subscribe to my channel with the big huge red button directly below. Questions and comments in the comment section, and as I said, links in the description. Those are affiliate links. They do support the channel. If you can use those when shopping, I'd be greatly appreciative. And now, on with the unboxing. First things first, we're going to unbox the small one here. Now, as I mentioned before, this is the older model. The new one says 600 VA, same 330 watts. It's linked down below. I will cover the new one when I get one. I just don't have the new design. It's vertical and shaped a little bit differently, but I will cover that and do an unboxing at some point in the future. First things first, open it up. They sure tighten this plastic around this really well. First things first, this is not a warranty. This is the equipment protection policy. It doesn't actually say insurance on here because insurance is licensed and complicated, but essentially it's the insurance policy that protects you. This comes with a $75,000 connected equipment policy. If you care about that, read through this to make sure that you've complied with all the terms. Because if you have a power surge that fries your computer, fries this and fries that, they're going to want this sent back to them and they'll test it. They're going to want pictures and a list of your equipment, so make sure you comply with that. And they will, at their sole discretion, replace or pay for your damaged equipment. Likewise, if you care about warranties and damaged equipment protection, register the product at their website. It is worth noting you are actually dealing with a battery and electrical appliance that you may have to open up, and you will when you change the battery, so it might be worth reading through the safety notices. Thankfully, the manual is not too complicated. It's just basically a large page that folds out, contains information, how to replace the battery, how to open the back panel. You do have to connect the battery. It does not come connected for protection and shipping reasons. So there's a sticker on here that says connected, and it shows how to do that on here. It does come with a nice piece of protective material here, and several people have commented on my previous unboxings, why don't I show this stuff being peeled off? So I'm showing it being peeled off just for you. I know it was exciting, wasn't it? This right here is something that comes with every APC UPS. They do take this stuff seriously. This is a quality assurance and diagnostic test. They actually test every one of these that comes out of the factory. This here is basically the computer report showing that it passed all of the tests. If you end up with a damaged one of these and you have to send it back either under warranty or with the equipment protection policy, they're going to run the test again to make sure that it was in fact power line damaged rather than, say, user error, or maybe you spilled soda on it or something. I have now removed the bottom panel. You just simply push this in and slide it off. No tools are required. You can see the battery here. Make sure, again, if you care about warranty and protection, that you buy genuine APC batteries. There are actually third-party batteries you can buy that cost less, sometimes half the price of these. But if you use a non-APC battery, then your protection coverage doesn't apply. I mentioned this does not come connected. You simply have to slide it out a little bit and then actually connect the terminal right in there. These batteries do come partially charged. They're lead acid batteries, so they can't ship them discharged or they would go bad. So there is power in there. Don't use your fingers to connect the terminals. It will shock you. So I've slid the battery out halfway. You don't have to pull it out all the way. And all I've done is taken this one white connector and slid it onto the terminal. They do have, which you can barely see here, a protective plastic cover over the other terminal to try to prevent them from touching. So it's not terribly dangerous. Just, don't stick your fingers on them both at the same time. Treat it like a car battery, because that's actually what it is. Once that is done, you can then peel this label off and expose the battery backed up power outlets. There are 8 total outlets on here. Only 4 are battery backed. This is for plugging in printers and other things that you don't need to have battery backed up. By plugging in all the devices at your desk to this, it makes sure that you're covered. So this bottom strip down here is what you'd plug printers and other non-essential devices. Plug your monitor and computer into the top strip up here for battery protection. Right here on the front, you can see several things. First are the network ports. It does you no good to protect the AC lines, only to have a power surge come in over the network wire. So make sure that your network cable from the wall, assuming you're running a wired network, connects to the UPS, and then another cable runs from the UPS to your computer itself. You'll also see a USB connector. The USB cable does come in the box. There is software that you can download from APC's website, and what it does is you run it on your computer, and it just sits down in your task tray. If the power goes out, you can program it that after 3 minutes or 5 minutes, or when the battery's starting to run low, it will automatically shut your computer down, basically shut down the computer for you. and it will force a shutdown even if you have something open if you're not in front of your machine. So this basically connects to a USB port on your computer, plugs in here, and it also lets Windows have that little battery indicator just like laptops have so that you know the charge state and how much power is remaining in the battery. And that's pretty much all there is to show with this one. On with the beast. And with the smaller unit out of the way, now it's time to unbox the beast. This does weigh a lot, by the way, just be aware of that. Oh yes, it weighs so much the styrofoam in the box was broken, but that's its job. It's to protect the unit. It's fine. It just came off when I took it out of the box. And there's another piece of styrofoam here that stayed in the box when I turned it upside down and lifted the box. That is actually a very easy way to get big, heavy things out of a box, is simply turn it upside down and lift the box off rather than trying to pull the item out. Oh man, that is heavy. Especially when it's covered in a plastic bag. And I am going to be picking up very small pieces of styrofoam for days. Because that broke, they are all over the desk. And with the styrofoam mess cleaned up, mostly, we are now going to peel off the plastic since everybody seems to like that part. There we go. Just like the smaller unit, a full test report on this specific unit as tested out of the factory is included taped to it, which is nice to have. Turning the unit on its side, you can see the big yellow sticker. Again, just like the other unit, this is cautioning you that you have to actually connect the battery, which I'm not even going to try to show you given the size of this thing, but basically follow the instructions. You have to connect the battery before you can use it. The smaller unit had a fold-out pamphlet. This actually has a real bound manual. There's more to it. There's an actual screen on front with some display to it. Not only is there the standard Ethernet pass-through in the back, there's also a coax in the back, and while it does still connect via USB to your computer, the other end of this cable is actually an Ethernet cable, and the reason is this will also connect via serial cable as well. You can get different cables to plug this into a USB port, a serial port, and others because it's a more advanced unit. There's another point that I didn't mention earlier. External battery packs. For about $140 or a little bit less than the cost of one of these, you can buy another full unit which contains 2 more battery packs that triple your runtime. If you actually want longer runtime, there is a plug in the back here that will let you plug a second unit that has 2 battery packs. This has 1 that will triple your actual battery time. It doesn't triple the wattage, it doesn't triple the total power draw. What it does is increase runtime. Want an hour to an hour and a half rather than 15 to 30 minutes? Spend another $140, get 2 more battery packs, plug it in the back here, it'll automatically detect it, and you'll get far more runtime out of a unit such as this. Now I mentioned that in a future video I'm going to cover the SmartUps line, the Smart UPS line, which has some additional options, and they're more advanced units technically than these backups are. I'll talk about that a bit more in those, but let me just say that they make units of 5,000 VA. They make rack mount units designed for servers. That's not really the focus of my channel. Maybe Wendell over at Level 1 Techs would be more appropriate to talk about some of the rack mount units, but they do make them. And if you need something more appropriate for a business, they've got you covered with some very high-end units. I said I wasn't going to show you the battery. Because it's a hot swap battery, I will. You turn the unit over and you pull on these tabs and the whole thing simply slides straight out. Notice the red side, notice the pull tabs. This battery is quite heavy for its size. If you turn it over, you'll see that it's green. You'll see that the connection is actually right here in the middle. The reason is this is designed for you to be able to easily ship it with the battery in it. If you ever have to ship this back for warranty service or for the equipment protection, you need to take the battery out and you need to turn it over. Red this direction is disconnected. Green this direction is connected. All you have to do is slide the unit in. Well, that dropped heavier than I thought it was going to, and drop it into place. To disconnect, there's pull tabs on this side. Simply pull them up and pull the unit right out. That is how you connect the battery, and it's very easy. As I said, it's a hot swappable battery. With the unit on running your computer, of course with the AC on, you can simply turn it over, pull this out, put a new one in, and swap a new battery into place without shutting it down. A feature that the less expensive units don't have. And we simply take the cover and slide it back into place, and this is ready to turn on and start charging. Just like on the less expensive unit, the power plugs on this side are battery backup. The power plugs on this side are surge protection only, things like printers and things that don't need battery protection, but still need the surge protection of the unit. You can see up here the various network connections, either the pass-through for your gigabit Ethernet or the one for the cable to install the PowerShoot software. They actually do include a CD in this package, so you don't have to download it, although I still personally would recommend downloading the software. You can see the two coax connections in the center and some additional features that aren't on the other one. There is a ground screw here. Do you have an actual ground in your building or a ground wire that you've got plugged in? This provides additional protection beyond just what is on the 3-prong plug from the wall. You also have a building wiring circuit warning light here. If the circuit has a problem, if the ground on the wall plug has a problem, you've got a warning indicator there. And then, of course, the plugs down below. I mentioned the external battery connector. That's it right here, this little plug. If you get the second one of these, it's not the same unit, by the way, it's a different part number, but it's on the same page, link down below. You stick it here, triples your runtime with 2 more batteries, plug that in. Do keep in mind that if you buy the external unit, you're greatly increasing your cost to get that runtime, because 4 years from now, you have to buy 3 $60 batteries instead of one $60 battery when it comes time to replace them. I hope that was interesting, informative, or perhaps just entertaining for you, but either way, I do recommend that everybody put a UPS on your computer. Even if it's just a $40 unit, if you have a very, very basic machine, the protection it'll provide to you over the next 10 years is invaluable. Of course, I do think it's worth the extra $20 to step up to the 600 VA, the newer version of this if you can afford it, and then if you have a nice high-end machine, get the 850, which is going to be about $90 or so. Or perhaps if you have a really expensive computer as I do, this amazing unit is definitely worth the money. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember to comment down below. Remember to subscribe down below. Remember to check all the links. Thank you all so very much for watching. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next video.